Last year we were upset with Arteta's handling of Martinelli. Now look at him. Exactly why we shouldn't give up on Smith Rowe or Vieira. Trust the process. What's your team of the season so far? That's an interesting question. Let's do it. Goalkeeper. Ramsdale's in with a shout.
He's
for
in
sure.
with a shout. He might have to go with the Liverpool keeper.
Or Newcastle.
Or Nick.
But the Newcastle play as a defensive unit.
That's right.
Liverpool.
Do you go on, I often find with these things, do you go on just pure talent or do you go on current form? Because those things are two separate entities.
Pure talent, you're going Alisson, right?
Yeah. But maybe on current form you might go with Pope or
Ramsdale.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to say Ramsdale.
Yeah, let's say Ramsdale. Why not?
Let's say
I wouldn't
Ramsdale.
argue with that though.
Let's say Ramsdale.
I mean, you saw on Sunday, Ramsdale, man, when we were up against it, he come up with some 3 or 4 excellent saves.
Yeah, and Dave mentioned Raya at Brentford as well. Good keeper.
Yeah.
I think he's made the most saves in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it was last time I checked, but he's a good keeper. Let's go left back. Who would be the left back for you?
Boy.
Zinni's in with a shout.
Yeah.
As much as defensively, there's a lot of question marks over his head. What he brings in the modern day systems and that, he's perfect for it.
He is, especially going forward.
Luke Shaw's had a decent season, but I would pick Zinni ahead of him.
Yeah. Luke Shaw has proved as well that he can play different positions.
That's a very Ake's a very good shout.
You know what? Nathan Ake's done really well this season. I was saying it on a stream the other day. If you've seen his progression, remember he was at Bournemouth and you know, he looked a decent player, but you didn't expect him to scale these heights that he's doing currently. He's in that City team now, man, and he looks part of the furniture, really.
A lot of City's players, they come in and they have a year where there's a lot of fans saying, oh, that wasn't a great signing, and then the season after they kind of kick on. I think Grealish has done the same this season. But
and it's interesting you should say that, because myself and one of the other contributors, I think it was on the watch along, the DR watch along I did the other day, we were talking about Calvin Phillips. And a few of the people on there was saying, no, I don't think he's going to make it as a City player. And I actually quoted Nathan Ake and saying to them, do not write Calvin Phillips off. When he was at Leeds, he was a quality player. He's an England international. Okay, it's not quite worked out for him at City, especially when you saw the stuff that Pep had said about him being overweight. But that's not to say he can't recover his form.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? I mean, look at Rashford last season to this season.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Look at Xhaka last season. Well, a lot of people think he had a good season last season. I don't think it was as good as people say it was, but this season it's chalk and cheese in comparison to his previous.
And for you to say that, because I know me and you have had back and forth about Xhaka.
But that shows that can be one round. It shows that it's not an agenda against a certain player, and I won't ever change my opinion if I see something different. No,
listen, man, you're a fair guy. It's not personal with you. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
Me and you have had back and forths about Xhaka. We've also gone back and forth with Eddie. And that is how you feel, and I respect that. You speak from the heart, and I respect your knowledge of football. So when you're telling me something like that, I'm going to listen. I may not always agree with you, but hey, it is what it is. That's what football's all about, isn't it? It's about having your opinions and being able to express them. And you know what I mean, taking other people's thoughts on board. So
very true. So we're going Ake left back, let's say.
Yeah, why not?
I think that makes sense defensively, for sure. Right back, I think it's only 2 people: Ben White and Trippier at Newcastle. This is an Arsenal channel, so I don't know if I'll probably lean.
Ben White has played phenomenally this season.
He's pretty much been flawless.
Yeah, and again, a potential title-winning player. So yeah, I would have to go for Ben White, man.
Yeah, we agree on that one. A lot of the chat mentioning White, a few people mentioning Trippier as well. If that is fair, like I said, it will be out of those 2 centre-backs.
Oh, this is a good one.
This is a good one, because I think Botman for Newcastle has been close to, you know, sensational. I mean, in terms
left-sided or right-sided we go. Because to me, Gabriel's got to be in there somewhere, bro.
Yeah, no, and Botman is left-sided, isn't he?
Yeah. To me, Gabriel's got to be in there, bro. Because he's another one whose rate of progression, his improvement this season. I can remember going back and forth with a few Arsenal fans. I think Lee Judges was one. Sorry to call you out like this, Lee, but he had his reservations about Gabriel, because Gabriel can, or was, okay, he can be a bit impulsive.
Yeah.
He's a natural born winner, isn't it? He's aggressive. If the ball's there to be won, he's going to try and win it. Sometimes that can get the better of you in that split second. You have to know when to tackle and perhaps when to just shield or stand off, or you know what I mean, your decision making's got to be spot on. I think it's fair to say that previously Gabriel had made a few impulsive decisions.
Yeah.
He seems to have cut that out of his game. Not completely, but he's eradicated it to a large
100%.
degree. So what you're seeing now is a much more, to use a term you've used, Turkish, polished defender.
Yeah.
Add that to his physicality, add that to the fact that he can pop up with the odd goal as well. He's been phenomenal this season. Also, his physical presence is there. He's got leadership qualities. You often see when Arsenal are playing, you would have seen it, Turkish.
Yeah.
He's, you know, talking to the guys in the team, organising. I like it, man. He's definitely one of the centre-backs of the season.
Again,
so
Arsenal
far.
channel, so we lean towards Gabriel, but I think Botman deserves a shout out as well.
Yeah, Botman's good.
It'd be a very, it's a very close quarter. That's the left side.
The lad at Manchester United as well,
Martinez.
he's been very good.
He
too.
has been. It's just that
Sandro.
I see Waves mention him as well, but at the same time, he's had games where he's been dumped on as well. And listen, it's his first season in the league, so
exactly.
I get that. But for this season, I wouldn't put him on the same level as Gabriel or Botman. So in terms of the conversation we're having, Martinez deserves a shout.
He gets a special mention, but if I'm going to go for one, especially on the left side, it's got to be Gabriel for me.
And on the right side, I'm going Saliba.
Oh yeah, Saliba. And I was going to say as well, one of the things in centre backs, you will know this, Turkish, by watching football over the years, is that it's partnerships. Yeah. And what you have with Gabriel and Saliba, to me, is a perfect partnership, because the two, how can I put it? The way they play together, it just works. Doesn't it? They complement each other.
That's part of the selection.
Yeah,
because a few people are mentioning Stones, and Stones
has been good.
Has probably had
although
his
he's
best
been playing
season
more in midfield now,
recently. Yeah, he's probably had his best season for City. I'm not a City fan, so I don't know for sure, but yeah, he's probably having his best season for City. Diaz is another shout. But in terms of the partnership Gabriel and Saliba have, how young he is, how good he's been for the majority. Don't get it twisted, Saliba's had moments. I wouldn't say he's been dumped on, but he's had moments this season where
I remember when when we resumed after the World Cup, there was a few people saying that Saliba was not showing the form he'd shown pre the World Cup. You know, he'd gone out to the World Cup. There was that talk, but recently, man, I mean, listen, he's not in the team now, and you're seeing how good he is. No disrespect to Rob Owen, but you're seeing how much Saliba is missed. He has the pace, he has the control, he has the football ability. He's like he reminds me, when I look at Saliba now, he looks like what Van Dijk was looking like a few years back. That complete centre half that's got all the physical attributes, but he's got the football ability to go with it.
I think to close the gap, he needs the experience.
That will come.
Can only come with time.
Exactly.
So.
But him and Gabriel, man, there's no better central pairing partnership in the Premier League, is my view. What do you think?
Yeah.
And that's why those two have got to play.
We've got Arsenal channel, Gabriel Saliba.
But listen, I would challenge people out there to give me a better pairing this season.
Yeah, I know United fans were trying with Martinez Varane at one point, and the 7-0 happened, and then that all went quiet. No shade. That's what happened. That's literally what happened. I'm not, because I know United fans are going to be right. The Waves, I think Waves is a United fan. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying what happened.
Well, that is a reality.
Conversation. United fans. What about Martinez?
You can't escape it. You can't escape it.
7-0 happened, and
you can't escape that, man. You can't escape that.
Number 6. I have a few options: Rodri, Partey, Casemiro. But how many games has Casemiro been available for and started this season? For me,
he keeps getting himself sent off, doesn't he? But
and he didn't come straight into the side at the start of the season. I mean, he started 15 games out of the 29 played so far, so just about half.
Yeah, you got Casemiro, you got Declan Rice. There's a few there. I think I might have to go Casemiro, swallow my pride a little bit and go
even
Casemiro.
with the lack of games, because Rodri started 28 out of the 29 they've played. Partey has actually done well in terms of being available for us this season.
Partey's also had
23 games
availability
started.
issues with injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with my first choice, Casemiro.
I get that, because I think Casemiro is the best of the three when you look at the last 5 years. This season, when he's played, he's been the difference.
He has, and he's popped up with some very important goals.
But I probably would lean towards Rodri, just because of his availability, and then obviously maybe recency bias when you see the banger he scored against Bayern Munich. I know we're talking Premier League, but
that was phenomenal.
That was mad.
And that was with his wrong foot as well.
Yeah.
So cool wrong foot. I was doing a watch along, and when he scored that, man, seriously, I could not believe what I was watching. It kind of reminded me, in a way, of when Vincent Kompany scored that long range effort
against Leicester.
Yeah. When City went on to win the title that year, it wasn't the same type of goal, but it's the the effect, isn't it? When you're watching it and you see that goal and you think,
like,
wow.
Yeah,
it was that moment.
Wow, a wow moment. You're going Partey, I'm going Rodri.
No, I'm going Casemiro.
Oh, sorry, Casemiro.
But
I'm going Rodri.
it is. There are a lot of candidates.
There are. Let's go into the number 8 position. Obviously, Arsenal channel. We'll mention Xhaka first. He's done very well this season, but I also look at Newcastle and Bruno Guimaraes. I think he's been quality.
Xhaka is worth a shout, you know, for no other reason than the fact that prior to this season, and let's be honest as well, the role he's performing is different to what he'd been performing in previous seasons for Arsenal. So he's almost had to learn a new role.
Yeah,
he's getting forward
fair.
more.
That's fair.
Scoring goals. I mean, you saw a couple of weeks ago the headed goal he scored.
Yep. He's got 5 goals,
phenomenal.
6 assists in the league.
Yeah.
Which is...
I'd give him the edge over Bruno this season. I would.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would. I'm not saying he's a better player. I mean, we spoke earlier about what's the criteria going to be. Is it going to be talent or current form? I guess you'd have to go on current form. And if you went on current form, you'd have to say Xhaka.
Yeah, I get that. I see the chat saying McAllister as well, and that's actually
he is a good
name
player.
I forgot to mention. I'd probably
World Cup winner as well.
Just not to make this a City Arsenal combined 11. I might include McAllister in there. I might include McAllister in there. World Cup winner in between as well. Been ever present for them. Probably the best goal scorer out of the 3 off the top of my head. Yeah, he's got more goals than Xhaka. He's got more goals than Bruno. Yeah, I'll give it to McAllister because Brighton have been so good this season as well. I think they deserve.
I'm going to go Granit because I've been a long time advocate of Granit.
Fair. Would you take, just on the subject, would you take McAllister this season as an upgrade/rotation option for Xhaka in that position?
I'll tell you what I would take. It's Bellingham. We spoke about that yesterday on the show, myself and Robbie. No, but on that Bellingham thing, and I don't want to like regurgitate everything me and Robbie spoke about yesterday, but we was both of the opinion that Arsenal should be seen to be making inquiries about players like that if and when they become available. We know that Liverpool have dropped out. They've said so themselves. They were the forerunners, weren't they? In terms of getting Bellingham. I think that now that situation has happened, Arsenal should be keeping a close eye on that situation. Yep. What do you think?
I don't see why not. One thing that used to jar me with Arsenal when we were winning things and when we were great, and we still had that clout having moved into the Emirates, is we wasn't going for the top players and having to pay the top fees. Yeah. Obviously do it wisely, because paying over the odds, look at Chelsea, doesn't always work. But someone like Bellingham, homegrown, I think would fit in quite well with the current crop we've got.
If you look at Bellingham, right, you look at his attributes. We were talking about this yesterday, and again, I don't want to regurgitate everything we spoke about yesterday, but if you'll just allow me briefly to indulge, you look at that, what he's got, what he brings to the table, his physicality, the pace, the power, the skill, the leadership abilities he's got, his reading of the game, his tactical understanding. Everything is there. The youth, he's only 19. Those are the types of players that, as an Arsenal fan, you would want to see come to Arsenal, because they can usher in that new era. I mean, we're on the verge of something really exciting this season. Can you imagine that if we was able to get a player like Bellingham in for next season? You know what I mean? As much as I've bigged up Granit Xhaka, He is 30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get someone like Bellingham who's in 19. You spoke earlier, Turkish, about ceilings and things like that. There is no ceiling for a guy like that.
Yeah, he has been quality.
I mean, whether it will happen, I don't know. Probably not. But I do think that Arsenal need to do their due diligence and get on it.
I think a McAllister seems much more likely, but I'd like to see us test the waters at the very least. Listen,
man, we are, again, this is something we spoke about yesterday. I think now we are on the verge of establishing ourselves as a proper powerhouse again in British football. That would mean that we're shopping in a different market to where we were before. We're not shopping in Next anymore. We can go down to Harrods comfortably or Selfridges and say, yeah, well, go on.
What you got for me?
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right, number 8, you're going Xhaka. I'm going McAllister. Number 10.
It's a few candidates, man.
There is. I mean, obviously,
Odegaard,
speaking about Arsenal,
Madison.
Odegaard. Madison's had a very good season, for sure.
Even though he could get relegated.
What do you make of De Bruyne season?
De Bruyne, again, it's that natural talent versus form or what they've achieved this season. De Bruyne, as much as I rate him,
it sounds right to put him in because of who he is and what he's done, but if we're looking at this season alone,
exactly, I don't think you can, because let's be honest, even Pep this season, he's not used him consistently or as much as I thought they would. I mean, even the other day when City played Bayern in the Champions League, he hooked De Bruyne. De Bruyne did look a bit pissed
and
off,
actually he's been left on the bench for a couple of big games.
How could you reasonably make an argument that he should be in the Premier League team of the season when he's not appearing regularly for his team? True.
Odegaard's also got 10 goals in the league, something that a lot of fans demanded from him is more productivity in the final third, and he's brought that.
He's also showing great leadership skills. I've got to shout out Martin Odegaard on this one, because I didn't see that, to be honest. I didn't see him as a leader of the team. Did you?
No, not if you're looking at character and profile and all of that. But obviously
because I'm going to go as far as to say that I had my reservations on how he might cope with the physicality of the league. And that's not, listen, I don't want to denigrate the man. I'm just being honest.
I think it's Ozil tax as well, because that was our last one, and we just felt like these lightweight number 10s. And
in previous years, he would have been seen as that archetype of kind of Arsenal player, in it. Very talented, good on the ball, but when things get a bit sticky, he doesn't always show of himself. I don't think you can say that about Odegaard this season. He could still do a bit more, but I think he's proven himself that he's about that life, man.
Brandon says De Bruyne has 5 goals and 14 assists. Great numbers, but when you're playing with Haaland as well, I mean, actually, look, let me not say that, because De Bruyne's regularly in and around the top of the assist chart.
Listen, I rate him. I like watching him play.
He just hasn't been as prominent for me.
But it has to be said, man. You know what I mean? The facts don't lie. He's not played on a consistent basis for City, and when he has started, a lot of the time he's been hooked. Sometimes I've wondered why, you know what I mean? I think he's not playing that bad, but Pep sees things, you know what I mean? So on that alone, could you really elevate him above the likes of Odegaard? And even though we spoke about Madison, Leicester having a very poor season by their standards, I mean, listen, they could get relegated, but even so, Madison has been their standout player.
He's actually
been phenomenal.
He was actually a very good shout from you.
So
I probably would have forgotten.
And it's interesting, wasn't it? Because I remember having conversation with Arsenal fans. Remember when we was debating whether Odegaard should come back? A lot of people were saying they prefer Madison to Odegaard because he's more of a goal-scoring midfielder. Very different players. That's the thing. You take them both. I think that's what it is, and you rotate accordingly depending on the opposition. But Arsenal channel, we're going to lean towards Odegaard. I think we're doing it again. Cool. We're leaning towards Odegaard. That's the midfield done. Front three now. We mentioned before, on the left, we'll both go for Martinelli. I think in recent, not necessarily recent weeks, I think this season overall, I think Grealish has kicked on, and in recent weeks, he's probably been City's best player, or just behind Haaland in terms of... I would go as far as to say that Grealish this season has probably been City's most improved player. Him and Ake. But if you factor in that Grealish had that unbelievable price tag, 100 million or whatever, and a lot of people, I think it's fair to say that he didn't live up to the hype last season. But this season now, he's got a season under his belt. He knows what it takes. He's spoken openly of having to adjust his game from when he was at Villa to when he come to City. He's now appears to be getting that right, and you're seeing that on the pitch, and he looks phenomenal, I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to live up to 100 million price tag because he's not a 100 million player. But what he's doing this season is stopping people from mentioning his price tag because he's playing an important role in it. But Matoma's had a very good season so
phenomenal,
far. I wouldn't put him ahead of Martinelli, but I mean, he's had a very, very good season for Brighton.
When you talk about players who just come from nowhere and have just, shocked everyone, it's got to be him, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, he's just come from nowhere like that, bro.
And now he's probably worth 56, maybe more.
He's a diamond in the rough,
more.
For sure.
It's mad. To be honest,
how long will he stay at Brighton for, I wonder?
This is his second season for them, right? How old is he? Let me just quickly double check. 25 years old. So
he had a decent World Cup as well.
He's headed into his prime.
For Japan.
Yeah, Japan. Yeah. He
had a decent World Cup. So the guy can play, man.
Yeah, Matoma's a shout.
He's consistent. You know what I mean? So
Matoma's a shout, but we're going with Martinelli.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, the stats say it all as well. Man.
Yeah, and we're the league leaders, and he's the leader of the goals for us. On the right. Yeah. I mean, for me, Saka's the clear option on the right.
It's got to be Saka, the star boy. He's got to be in there, man.
I don't even know who else comes close on the right hand side, if I'm honest.
Well, people was talking about Rashford on that side as well.
On the left, I wouldn't.
I think most neutral observers, non-biased observers, would have Xhaka in that position.
Yeah, goes without saying. I think it's not one we even need to debate. Saka, cool. Yeah. Up front, I think is another one that is hard to debate. Haaland.
Really? I was going to say, cause
yeah.
I thought he was going to say Jesus.
Nah, it has to be Haaland.
I'd love to be able to say Jesus, but you can't argue with Haaland.
30 goals with 9 games to go, on the cusp of breaking the record. He's just broken the record in terms of total goals scored in a season in all competitions for a Premier League player. I think Ronaldo had 44 in his Ballon d'Or season at United. Haaland's got 45 now.
You know, one thing I've been thinking about in recent weeks is, imagine if Haaland was playing up front for Arsenal. Do you think would have got more goals than he's got now? I think quite possibly,
Possibly, but at the same time, remember when he first came in and when City were dropping points, every time City dropped points, people would look at Haaland and say it's because he doesn't really factor in terms of linking up and playing style that we're used to seeing from Man City, whereas Jesus came into the Arsenal side and brought us something different to what our strikers had. I'm not too sure. I think Haaland's going to score wherever he goes. He's done that. He's done that anyway. So,
but it could be argued that Arsenal play possibly a little bit more directly than City do. City still tend to pass it around a bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas Arsenal possibly a bit more direct. So it's possible. Remember?
True. Yeah.
I can remember a few months back there was some people were saying that Haaland was possibly slowing City up a little bit because of the way they play, and Haaland's not a natural fit. You could argue that Haaland is a more natural fit for a team like Arsenal than they are for City, who do like to dwell on the ball.
Yeah.
And play more passes.
When he was
get it forward a bit quicker.
When he was at Dortmund had that, quick playing style as well. Where at Haaland at Man City, you're seeing very similar types of goals in the 6-yard box. A lot of headers, a lot of tap-ins, right place, right time. But the Haaland prior to Man City, I saw a lot of goals where he's running through on goal, finishing from just inside the box, and more one-on-ones with the defenders. We're not seeing that as much now because, like you said, Man City tend to pass and break teams down like that. But yeah, Haaland it is. Yeah,
it's got to be Haaland, man. Although, listen, Jesus got injured at a crucial time. That's kind of slowed up his progress. His goal scoring rate. Now he's come back. He's getting them goals again. So
you're not going to try to throw Eddie in there?
Eddie's time will come, but it's not quite got there yet.
Haaland it is. We pretty much agreed on every position aside from me picking Roger, you picking Casemiro. A lot of the chat have kind of agreed here and there as well. Obviously, we got some.
It's a very good debate. It's a very good debate.
And I was about to say a lot can change in the last 8-9 games.
I think it might do.
But we'll see. We'll touch in on it again come the end of the season.
Let's do another show.
Yeah.
at the end of the season, when we can definitively state who's been the best player in all those positions. Because let's face it, still 8 games or whatever left, so it's still time to play.
Let's do it.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.